we are going to discuss different variables. Okay. So before we start, in C programming we use two terms. One is called variable, another one is called constant. So first, what is variable and what is constant? For example, if I say a is a variable and x is a constant. A is a variable and x is a constant. So, if I assign a value into the a variable, and if we perform any operation on this, for example, we may perform a plus plus, okay, we may perform a equal to a plus 10, okay. So the value of a which is initially 10, if I perform a plus plus operation, the value of a will become 11, okay, it will increase the value. After that, if we perform this operation a equals to a plus 10, then the value of a will become 11 plus 10, that is 21. So you can see the value of a is not fixed. As per the operation we are performing on a variable, the value of a is getting changed. So that's why this a is called variable. The a is called variable whose value can vary, whose value is not fixed, the value can vary. That is called variable. Constant is just opposite. If I take anything as a constant, then throughout the program, the value we cannot change. It will hold the same value. For example, if I say 5, so that is a constant. The value of 5 or okay. So that is a constant. Now this constant you can store into another variable to make it a variable, but 5 itself is a constant. You cannot change the value of 5 itself. It is a 5. So that is variable and constant, where the value here, the value can vary, and here the value will remain fixed. Now we have learned different data types. Now in this class we are going to discuss how to declare a variable and why to declare a variable. So variable declaration. In variable declaration, mainly two components are there. Whenever we are going to declare a variable, mainly we use two components. Okay. So before we go to the declaration, why should we declare a variable? That is the main question. Okay. So in our computer, this is our main memory. For example, we have taken a memory here, and these are different location of the memory. Okay. This is, for example, location 1, location 2, 3, 4, and so on. In that way, total n number of locations are there. Now, in our program, whenever we take a variable in that way and we write a equals to 10, so this 10 value that we are giving input either through in programming or through IO statement like printf, scanf, like this, scanf basically. So whenever we are inserting 10 as a value, this 10 value will store into the main memory, because we know that from the input output device, the data will go to memory. Then from the memory it will go to the processor. After performing the process, the processor will again return the data to the memory, and from there it will go to the output device. So that means we are performing the operation by involving the memory. So whatever inputs we are taking here, that will go to the memory first. Okay, so if I write a equals to 10, that is basically a input, or through scanf statement if you take a input, that input will first go to the memory. Okay, so here this is the memory location. So if I take an input in this stage, it will go to the memory, and the memory which consists of different numbers of locations, So the question basically comes that this data that we have taken as input, in which location it will get stored. Okay, so that is not defined. So basically to store the data in main memory, we use the variable declaration is important, that where to store the data in main memory. So what the process is and how we will do that I will discuss gradually. So the main purpose is that whenever in a program, whenever we are taking an input, that input need to be stored into the main memory, and in the main memory which consists of different number of locations. So where the data will get stored. To store the data, basically we use the variable declaration process. Now how to declare a variable? What are the main two components while we declare the variable? So the component number one is data type, and second component is variable name. So data type means primary, derived, user defined, whatever it is. So first we have to define the data type. That means the data we are going to take as input, what will be the type of the data. So we know int is a data type, character is a data type, float is a data type, and lot more data types are there. So okay, in that way first you have to write what the data type is. Then you have to provide a variable name, and the variable name is user given. You can assign any name to the variable. Just simple some rules are there that we have to follow while writing a variable name. So if for example I say integer number, so number becomes my variable name. Character, for example I say name, so name becomes a variable name. Float, for example I declare marks, so marks becomes my variable name. So this variable name you can assign anything. You can assign A, B, C, D, whatever you want to assign. You can assign any name to the variable. Just one thing you have to remember, when the variable name is already assigned, throughout the program that particular variable will be called by that name. That means whenever a name is assigned to a person, now if I want to get response from that particular person, I have to call that person by his name. Okay, for example the name of the person is X. If I call Y, if I call Z, I will not get response from the person X. If I expect person X to respond, then I have to call the person by his name X. So it is similar. Whenever a variable name is assigned, throughout the program, that variable will be accessed by that name only. You cannot change. Here I have declared a variable called number, and whenever it is required, I am calling the variable by some other name. It is not possible. Okay. So this is the declaration, how we declare the variable. So two main things we have to inform. One, what is the data type? Another one is the variable name. Now I am coming to that part again. Now the question is, the variable name is very much clear. Okay, so one thing, some very small rules are there. For example, you cannot start a variable name. With an integer value. That is not possible. It is not possible. But if you write A2, that is right. Okay. So you can assign any name to the variable. Some rules are there. That one I have said that a variable name you cannot start with an integer value. Never. A variable name never can be started with an integer value. So these type of some rules are there. By maintaining these rules, you can assign name to a particular variable. Now, why the data type is important? That's why whenever we are declaring a variable, why we are mentioning the data type also. Various reasons are there. The main reason is there that whenever I declare a variable number, so this is my main memory. So for example, in that way, locations are there. In that way, locations are there. Location number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In that way, total n number of locations are there. Now, if I first consider this one, I am coming one by one. First, I consider integer. This integer. If I consider this, so for this number, a location will be allocated in this memory. This is our memory. So which location will be allocated? That will be decided by the compiler, and arbitrarily the memory will be allocated. So compiler will decide that in this location, this n number of locations are there. So which location will be allocated for this variable number? That decision will be taken by the compiler. Now the question is, what amount of memory will be allocated? What amount of memory will be allocated to that particular variable? That is the question. So if I say every one location can store 1 byte, each location can store 1 byte. Okay, if this location can store 1 byte, this location can store 1 byte, this location can store 1 byte, 1 byte. Now we know what is the size of integer. Size of integer is 2 byte. Okay, size of 16 bit or 2 byte. So size of integer is 2 byte. So for this number variable 2 byte will be required. For this number variable 2 byte will be required. So it will assign 2 byte location for this number variable. So location 1 byte, location 2. So collectively it is 2 byte. So for this variable number 2 byte will be allocated, because the data type of this variable is integer whose size is 2 byte. Same way, if I say now it is very much clear. If I want to assign memory for this variable name, then what is the data type? Character. The data type of name is character. And what is the size of character? That is 1 byte. We all know that size of character is 1 byte. So that means 1 byte memory is enough for this name, because its maximum size is 1 byte. So arbitrarily, for example, I have assigned this for name. This is the location I have assigned for name, and 1 location is enough, because 1 location is equals to 1 byte, and the variable size is also 1 byte. So it will assign only 1. Same way, marks. What is the size of marks? 4 bytes. Why 4 bytes? Why 4 bytes? Because the size of marks is 4 bytes, because the data type of marks is float. So as the data type of marks is float, the size will be 4 bytes. So it will allocate, for example, this 4 bytes. So this 4 byte it will allocate for marks. This 4 byte it will allocate for marks, because the size of marks is 4. So that is the way how we allocate memory for a particular variable, and what amount of memory will be allocated for that particular variable, that completely depends on the data type. Okay, I will give a very small example of that also. For example, I have declared a variable int x, and you all know int is the keyword that we use for integer. So that means x, what does it mean? What if I declare this? What is the meaning of this int x? It means that x is a variable. X is a variable. X is a variable which can store integer type values only. Okay, so it is the meaning that int x means x is a variable, that is my variable name, and the data type is integer. It means that this variable can store only integer type value. So the value of x, the probability of value of x, it is x maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 25, maybe 157, whatever, any numerical value you can assign. But if I try to assign x, if I write x equal to 10.25, that is not possible, because 10.25 it is a float type number. 10.25 it is a fractional number, not integer. It is float type number, but my x is a integer type. So logically it is not possible. We cannot assign a float type value in an integer type variable. So that's why the data type is very important. Now if you want to store 10.25, then we have to declare another variable as float y. Then we can write y equals to 10.25, because meaning of this statement is that y is a variable that can store only float type value. So now we can say y equal to 10.25. Y equals to 10.25. Now I will clear it with some very small programs also. I will show you live examples that what will happen if I assign some numerical values to a float variable or a float type data into a variable called, that is integer variable, that I will show through very small program just after this. So this is all about the variable declaration. Now if I say I have taken a variable integer x, so what does it mean? It means that this is my main memory, this is the main memory, different locations are there. So for example, this is the location m, this is location m, this is location m. Okay, now if I write a variable integer x, so for this x, compiler has allocated this for x variable, this location for x variable. Okay, now this location may be free, there are some values may be there. Okay, so if there is any previous value, for example some value 105672, in that case some value, that is some previous value is there. Okay, so this value will be called garbage value. So after that, if you print the value of x, where I have not assigned anything, if you print the value of x, you will get this value. X will be output, you will get 672. So this value is basically an unwanted value which we have not assigned into the program. Yet x variable will hold some value. This value will be called garbage value. Now if I assign some values into the variable, if I write integer x equals to 10, so what will happen? This is the location which we have allocated for the x variable. So whatever update we will do on x variable, if we perform increment operation or whatever operation we are performing on x variable, it will always reflected in this location, because this location is fixed for this variable x in this program. In this program for x variable, this location is fixed. So whenever I will write x equals to 10, what will happen? This garbage value will be replaced by 10. The garbage value will be replaced by 10. Now if you execute the printf statement, you will get 10 as a value. You will get 10 as a value. Okay. And if I print, now if I want to know that location, because this location is assigned by the compiler, user is not assigning the location. The location is assigned by the compiler. Now if I want to know what is the location of x variable, so if you print the value of if you print the value of and x, if you print the value of and x, so basically this and x, that is representing the address or the location, whatever you say, the address of x variable. So and x is basically representing the address of x variable. So now if you print this value and x, you will get the location. You will get the location which the compiler has assigned for this particular variable. So that means here we have got two things. One is x, another one is and x. We have got x, we can print x, we can print and x. The difference is that it is the value of the variable, it is the value of variable. Okay, that is equals to 10. That is equals to 10. It is the value. And x, that is basically the address. The address, which is basically n. In this example, which is basically location n. That is the address. So using x we can access the variable, and using and x we can access the location that it has allocated. Okay. Now, if I give a very real life example for this, if I consider it is a village, if I consider this is a village, or if I consider this, for example, a sentence, classroom. Let us consider this is our classroom. Okay, and the classroom consists of desk. So this is in that way some desks are there. Desks are there. Now, this is for example the entry of the classroom. This is the entrance of the classroom. Okay. This is the entrance. Now, whenever a student will enter into the classroom, what will happen? Their teacher is there. Teacher will be there. What the teacher will do? Teacher will allocate the student in one of these desks. Teacher will allocate the student in one of these desks. So, for example, when this student came, the teacher sent this student into any of these desks arbitrarily. Okay. For example, in this desk, the teacher has allocated. Okay. So, whenever the next student will come, what the teacher will do? Teacher will allocate the student in any of this location. For example, the second student, the teacher has allocated here. The second student, teacher has allocated here. Okay. So in that way, one by one, when the students will come, teacher will allocate the student in the location. Teacher will allocate the student in one by one locations. It may also happen that teacher may replace one student. With a newcomer. Teacher may replace one old student with a newcomer student. Okay. So basically, if we compare this, we can say these students are variable. The teacher can be considered as compiler. And this classroom is our basically memory. Classroom is memory, and each desk can be considered as each location. Okay. So what is happening? Whenever the variable will come, whenever a new variable will come, the compiler will read the variable and send the variable in a particular location. Any of these locations, that will be done by the compiler. Now, this is the way how we do it. Now, if we want to access a particular variable, so we can access the student by his name. For example, this name of this student is A. Name of the student is B. Okay. So what we can do? We can call the student by the name. So if I call student A, obviously this student will respond. If I call student B, obviously this student will respond. So by the name we can get the response. Another process is that we can call the student by the location. By the location means, for example, the student who is sitting in this, we can say the location, this is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, row 1, row 2. So 3 row is there and 4 columns are there. So we can say that row, second row, second column student, third column, second row, third column. So this is second row, row 1, row 2, third column, column 1, column 2, column 3. So basically this student we are talking about. Okay. So second row, third column. So here you can see, we are again, if a teacher don't know the name of the student, if a teacher, certainly the student is very new into the class, the teacher cannot remember the name of the student. So what the teacher can do? Teacher can call the student in that way also. The first bench, the student sitting in the first bench, please respond. The student sitting in the second bench, please respond. So whenever the name of the student is not known, we can call the student by the location also. Okay. So basically here we are doing this. That second row, third column student. So this is. So two way, this student to get response from these two students. Number one, we can call the student by the name. Another one, we can call the student by the location where he is sitting. Okay. So the same concept, the whole concept is applicable in the case of variable declaration and memory allocation of that particular variable. Okay. And after that, now we are going to, I will show you whatever I have discussed, I will show you with very small examples by programming languages.
So this is, in this program we are going to basically see the declaration of how we declare a variable, and that we have discussed how the address is assigned to a particular variable, what is the size of a variable. So here you can see, this is the way how I have declared a variable. First we write the data type, then we provide the variable name, and then we can assign the value in such way, as well as using scanf statement we can assign the value runtime. That is also possible. So here I have directly assigned the value 10 to this variable A, and this data type of this variable A is integer. That means we can assign integer type value to this variable. Similarly, we have taken a character, that is C, and we have taken a float type value, that is F. And in all this printf statement, we just find out the size of the data type as well as the size of the variable. That it is size of integer, size of the operator, through which we can find out size of any data type or size of any variable. So here it is data type, size of the data type, or size of the variable name also. So I will show that what is the difference or what is the similarity between these two statements. And after that, here we print the address of a variable. Similarly, we can print the address of C and F also, that I have not shown here. Only A I have discussed, I am discussing, and the value of the a variable. Now you can see what is the difference between these two statements is, here we are using AND A and here using only A. So if I write only A, that basically represent value of that particular variable, and if I write AND A basically represent the memory, the location allocated for this particular variable in the RAM. So let us run the program. So here you can see it is showing, the first is size of integer, the second one is size of A. So here it is showing 4 due to it is a 64-bit compiler, that's why it is showing 4. If it is a 32-bit compiler, there you will get output 2, but in recent, all the computer that we are using recently, most of them will show size of the integer as 4, because we are using 64-bit compiler right now. So that's why the first one is, but what I want to say is that size of integer and size of A, we are getting the same output. That means in this way we can find out a variable also, as well as we can find out the data type also. So this is showing the size of character data type and as well as the character variable. Here we can find out the size of a float data type and float type variable also. So same. Now come here. Here you can see the address of A is this and value of A is this. So here we have assigned 10 into A variable. In the first statement we have assigned 10 into A variable. So when we print the value we are getting 10. But when we print by using AND A, which is actually representing the address, so this is the address it is showing 2293572. So this address is basically assigned by the compiler. Compiler has assigned this for the variable A. So this is the address assigned for A variable by the compiler and this is the value we are getting here. Now let me show you some other features of variable declaration. Here we have taken, initially we have taken two variables. One is integer type variable, that is A, and I have assigned 100 into it. And I have taken a character type variable C, and the character we have taken as an input for C is P. Through these two printf statements we are printing these values of these variables. Now here, as it is an integer variable, we are using %d and here we are using %c to print the character variable C. And if I run the program, so what we are getting is, for this printf statement which is printing the value of A, so we are getting 100, and this printf statement which is printing the value of character variable C, that we are getting P as output. It is very simple. Now what I do, so I print the value of A but using %c, that means whatever will be printed, that must be a character, or it will treat the value of A as a character. Though the variable A we have taken as an integer, but when we are printing this A variable using %c, then the value of the variable A will be treated as a ASCII value of the character basically. Same here also, C is a character variable, but we print the value of C by using %d, that means %d will treat C as an integer type variable, though it is a character. Now generally, theoretically it should be wrong. We can say if I execute that, it is a wrong execution, because the variable we have taken integer and printing it using C, or the variable we have taken as a character and we are printing it using %d, is logically not possible. But if I compile the program, so you can see it is easily getting compiled. But what happening here, due to this printf statement that is printing the value of A, that is D, but the value of A we have assigned as 100, but it is printing the value of A as D. Here you can see in C variable we have the character P, but as a output we are getting 80. So this D and 80, both of them we have not taken as an input for A and C, but yet we are getting this as output. So what basically happened, the 100 is ASCII value of lowercase d. So when I print the value of A by using %c, then the value of A, which is 100, is treated as the ASCII value of a character, will be treated as a ASCII value of a character, and it is printing D, that's why. It is just opposite here, where the value of C is character uppercase P and the ASCII value of uppercase P is 80. So that's why if I print the value of C by using %d, then it will print the ASCII value of that character. It will print the ASCII value of that character. Similarly, if I just extend the program right here, I have taken another variable D, but it is a type is float, and we add a plus c. Here we add a plus c. So what is a? A is a integer type variable. What is c? C is a character type variable. So we are performing addition operation of a integer type variable and a character type variable. A integer type variable and a character type variable, and the result we are assigning in a float type variable. So the addition we are performing of a integer and a character, both are different, and the result that will generate will be stored in a float type variable. So the result is again in another format. So what output we will get due to this, as you can see here. Okay. So the value of a, which is 100, and the value of p, ASCII value of p is 80. Now when we are performing addition operation, then it will, a character we cannot perform addition operation using character. So what happens when we perform addition operation on a character? Basically we are performing addition operation of the ASCII value of the character, of the ASCII value of the character. So the ASCII value of p is 80. So you can see when I write a plus c, it means that value of a plus the ASCII value of p, which is 80. So result we are getting 180. And when we print, what we are getting 180.000000. It means that the result we have stored in a float type variable. That's why it has converted it into a float type variable. It has converted it into a float type variable. That is possible. So this concept is actually known as typecasting, and this is called implicit typecasting. Basically two types of typecasting is there. This is called implicit typecasting because this typecasting is completely done by the compiler. Here the question may arise that I have taken a as an integer type variable, but when I am printing it by using %c, it is printing the character which is related to the ASCII value of a, which is related to the ASCII value of a. So basically who is doing the conversion? A variable is an integer, but it has to be converted to its ASCII value, or a variable which is in character. As you can see, p is a character here. So when we print it by using %d, it will be converted to its ASCII value. So this conversion is basically done by the compiler itself. That's why it is called implicit typecasting, where the data type is automatically getting changed, and this change is done by the compiler. That is called implicit typecasting. So in this program, what we will see, so here we have taken a variable a, and the data type of a is float, and value we have assigned is 1.2, and here we have taken another variable sum, and where we perform a plus 1 operation. But here you can see that sum is an integer type variable. Sum is an integer type variable, and here we write integer, within bracket we write int, the data type and the variable name. So this is also one type of typecasting or conversion. So what basically happened, this variable a is we have taken or declared as float, but within bracket as we have mentioned it int. So this variable, float variable a, will be converted to integer variable. The variable which is actually float type variable a will be converted to integer variable, and then it will add the value. After that we print the value of sum, then we print the value of a. Let us run the program through which we can explain more. Here we can see that whenever we print the value of sum, we are getting 2 as a result, because due to this type conversion, a has been converted to integer. A has been converted to integer, and the value of a, which is 1.2, is converted to 1. So the fractional part it has removed, and only the integer value it has taken or it has considered, that is 1. Plus 1 it is 2, and when we print the value of sum, we get 2 as a result. but the actual value of a will not be affected, because if I print the value of a, it will remain 1.2. It will remain 1.2. So from this, what we can summarize is that by this typecasting, whenever the variable will be in use, at that time we can change the data type, we can perform the typecasting, but the value of the variable, actual value of the variable, will not be affected due to this operation. Let me show. And this is called explicit typecasting. Previously we have discussed implicit typecasting, where the typecasting was automatically done by the compiler, and here the typecasting is automatically not done by the compiler. We are forcibly changing the type, as you can see by this instruction that we have written int within bracket before the variable a. That means here we are changing the type by instruction. So that's why it is called explicit typecasting. So I will show you that this, if I add these two instructions here and if I run the program, okay. So look, same these two value, we have not changed anything. Just what we have done, I have taken a variable b which is of integer type, and this float value I have assigned. A I have assigned to b. Now when I print the value of b, what we are getting? 1 we are getting as output. So this is also typecasting. The value of a, which is 1.2, and when I assign it into a integer type variable, it has assigned only integer part, the float type it has removed, but nowhere I have done the timecasting. So in the same program I am showing you, one is implicit typecasting, another one is explicit typecasting. So this statement int b equal to a, this is example of implicit typecasting, where the data type is changed by the compiler automatically, and this statement integer sum equal to int a plus 1. So this is basically showing the explicit typecasting, where the value of the a or the data type of the a is being changed by the instruction, not by the compiler automatically. So that is explicit typecasting.